So today I'm Silvia, Colorful Foresight. Hello, where it's all about tapping in, obviously. And PD, what is the name of your YouTube channel?
So my YouTube channel is called The Tarot Lounge.
Let's see. Let's add a little bit of part about where is it going the next 10 years for your entertainment purposes only in regard humanity as far as the spirituality. But I'm kind of curious about that. A big rebirth for the USA going forward. You know what I feel? A lot of it, what we're seeing, like even what we do, not only is going to be it's already so mainstream. People are so into their oracle cards. Even if they don't do tarot, they use affirmation card. You hear people talk about, "Ooh, I had a hunch. I had a funny feeling." But I feel like the new age itself, it's not going to be the way it is 10 years because it's becoming so new normal. It's more like it just is. It's not like you have to be new age. You have to be Christian. You have to be this or that, or you have to be a scientist. I don't even know how to explain it because I never witnessed it. But I'm just feeling an energy of like, not even look like what we see right now. And that soon, within that 10 years, of course, it's not going to be like everything totally new, but this way of being in 10 years, what are you feeling? What is it going to be like?
Well, I'm totally creeped out by my cards right now.
Are you?
Yes, because you're talking about we're faced with in humanity within 10 years, right? So I'm pulling 10 of swords and 10 of wands, so it's like, okay, 10, I see you. So what I got here was that, okay, so humanity right now might feel like it's in a place of crying over spilled milk per se. But here's the thing about it is it's not all lost, and we're getting in tune with our emotions. If you see that water that's spilt out down there through some of these adversities that we've been through and these changes that we've been through, it's causing us to become more in tune with our emotions and more understanding of other people, more empathetic of other people. We all don't have to be the same. We can be different, and it's okay. It's a shifting from a perspective of sort of a fixed way to a more open-minded way. Now, here in the past, or here's where we're headed. We're headed more, and this is kind of interesting to me. I feel with this 10 of wands, we're heading more into a connection, particularly when I see this bear up here, and the man sort of, it almost looks as though he's kind of like steering steering the wheel here with this 10 of wands. But I think that we're going to get back in touch with nature. I really feel like some of the elemental things that we lost touch with throughout time, throughout technology and things, that we're actually going, speaking of gardening, speaking of all these different, things like that, we're going to get back in touch with skills like that. Because if you look here with the 10 of swords in reverse, you see all that electricity? That's technology in my mind. Thoughts, forward thinking, electricity, technology. Yeah, we're still going to need that and have that, but our focus is going to be more on the earth and more on connecting with that and that different sort of energy versus this kind of energy.
So the next 10 years, I got the 10 of wands, and I'm so glad that you describe it the way you did, because normally it's not like the pleasant card, but you mentioned the wand in a nature way. Mm-hmm. But I also got the 4 of wands, which is a good. Then I got the 8 of wands, which means there's going to be a lot of changes happening the next 10 years. Could have maybe the stress of how we deal with spirituality now. You're dealing with the more community connection with the universe and the planet. So that's what's going to be. That you would be like, well, is that kind of like how it is now? No, because the technology in 10 years is going to be way more advanced. And the idea we have, like, oh my God, you see those movies, more advanced technology, less, connection with the planet or, you know, nature, things like that. But if there had been other society and really nothing under the gun, wouldn't they want to recreate something a little different? So what could be a little different? It's like, let's make this happen. So do we want to repeat that story, or we're going to try and make it right this time? So let's go with that.
Right? I'll take the second option.
We might as well, because it's a video and that's how I'm going to do it.
Okay. So. No, but I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things. You know, wand energy is it's intense, right? It's fire energy, you know, and even though that card was wands, 10 of wands, you know, I still saw more connection with the elementals, more connection with the earth. I kind of feel that we're going to find some energy solutions through something other than what we normally are looking at energy solutions for. Particularly, I think it's going to be within like crystal type things and things. I really do, and just different forms of energy. I do believe some sort of energy is going to get a new form is going to get released to us as humanity. Awesome. I do think that
what's already been trying to come out or going forward, it will be utilized in a benevolent way. We are heading into where it's going to be an older population more and more. Less kids are being born. Not that there's not going to be any kids or younger generation, just less.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
I can tell you that I used to work at the communities. So I used to be a special education and elementary education teacher. And I used to work before I did that a little bit at the community center here. And one of my programs that I developed for the kids in the community was a pen pal program. And it's not quite like the tutoring program, but it was to encourage children to write. It was to encourage children to communicate and things like that. And the pen pal program, we were in combat. We worked hand in hand with the local nursing home. So what would happen was we would exchange letters amongst the kids in our summer camp and the residents of the nursing home. And it was so great. I mean, good vibes everywhere from that. It was just a really magical thing to watch happen. And just to see, like, it kind of opened up everybody's horizon or, realities of, what are kids like now? And it kind of got the kids being more empathetic, thinking, what is it like to be, an elderly adult and things like that, and how very much so, alike and different, but more so alike, because they would write to each other about things like when they were children, when I would, I remember being a child and blah, blah, blah. And they would tell their stories about being children. And then the kids would it would be like reading a story. And so it really encouraged a lot of different great skills. And it was such a great thing. So I'm so glad that you brought that up today, because there's so many benefits to things like that.
Now with technology and all that, sometimes, even though it's like they bypass the elderly in a lot of ways, because
we're not talking, we're just kind of doing that business.
So the elderly give that balance. Also, it's that respect thing. They're going to have respect to the elderly, and also keep the elderly young, literally, because especially in decades coming, the elderly people are going to live longer. Even like 100 years, they are going to live longer. And you're going to have youth and all that. That's always going to continue, but it's going to be a world of that kind of vibe, which we're not used to, because you never had the world of what is it like living from 100 to 200. I mean, that's way down, like maybe. But you hear about ET that they live to like 500, 600 years, but that's woo-woo, but we're on a woo-woo channel. But like for the next 10 to 20 years with more practical, you know, you already have people living to 109. Big rebirth for the USA going forward. That's what came to me. What about you?
In this whole listening to everything, you know, as you're saying it, it's interesting because the first thing that my mind to was an actual sort of scenario of the bee. So look at the bee. Kinds of problems right now with honeybees and people, you know, they're but you know they're dropping in numbers, and so these flowers, but you start growing, you know, flowers within your communities, and you know, doing this is, you know, kind of been into the works for a while. It has a little bit of thought to it, you know, people have been thinking about it. And what do those swords do? They take you right back to the heart, takes you right back to square one. You know, there's a certain amount of how do you say it? There's a certain amount of comfort in being independent and knowing that you can do things on your own, right? I mean, there's, of course, we all need each other and everything, but I do think that there is a certain amount of feel good to kind of doing it on your own, and you know, getting back to growing things locally and things like that. I think it's a huge trend right now, and I think it's a great one. I think people are starting to get back on board with that, you know, on producing things, you know, for themselves and being, you know, more efficient that way. And I think it's great. I think it's going to cause a lot of things that are a chain reaction in a good way.
Yeah, I got chills. Like, it felt good all over my body. Kind of goes with being the star in your own life.
Yeah.
We are very interdependent. We need each other from everything. But when you lose that, even the basic skill, you know, it's just good. It's just good vibe all around. Wow, like it.